Today we're going to take a second look at Pythagorean theorem. So let's start with the warm-up. Do the following lengths form a right triangle? And if they do, they're going to work in Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And remember, c has to be the longest side, the hypotenuse. So let's plug in and see, does it work in Pythagorean theorem? Do these numbers work? And if they do, it's a right triangle. So we have 5 squared plus 12 squared. Does that equal 13 squared? So I know that 5 squared is 25, 12 squared is 144. We want to check, does that equal 13 squared? 13 times 13 is 169. So again, to see if these three sides make a right triangle, they should work in Pythagorean theorem. We should get these two sides to be equal. 25 plus 144 is 169. So you would say yes, these form a right triangle because they work in Pythagorean theorem. If the two sides weren't equal, then it wouldn't be a right triangle. Number two, it is a right triangle. Find the missing side. So I'll just call the side A here. So we're checking, does a squared plus b squared equals c squared? Remember, c is the longest side right here. Okay, so let's plug in. So you have a squared plus 7 squared. Does that equal 14 squared? And it should. It's a right triangle. All right, so we're solving for the leg. Let's simplify. 7 squared is 49. 14 squared, let's do that. 14 squared is 196. We're getting a squared by itself, so let's subtract 49 from each side. So we have a squared equals 196 minus 49, 147. The last step, to get rid of a squared, we square root. And we'll take the square root of 147. And it's about 12.12. So I'll say A is about 12.12. I'll just round to 1. And your legs should be smaller than the hypotenuse, and they are. So our learning goal today, after today, you'll be able to apply the Pythagorean theorem to word problems. Just a visual reminder, in a right triangle, the hypotenuse is always across from the 90-degree angle. And the other two smaller sides are called the legs. And a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c is the hypotenuse. A and b can be switched in any order. They're the two smaller sides. So let's take a look at word problems today. A bed measures 60 inches by 80 inches. So I'm going to assume it's rectangular. Let's draw this out. Okay. So you have 60 by 80 inches. What is the distance between the opposite corners of the bed? Okay. So here's what we want. Notice we have a right angle right here. So we have a right triangle. So let's figure out the distance between the opposite corners of the bed. We'll call it C. I'll say 60 is A, 80 is B. We have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So let's plug in. We have 60 squared plus 80 squared equals c squared. All right, 60 squared is 3,600. 80 squared is 6,400. Let's add those together. Ooh, too many zeros. All right, so we get 10,000 equals c squared. Take the square root. And we get 100. And this would be in inches. So this distance right here would be 100 inches. Next example. A flagpole broke during a snowstorm. 7 feet are sticking out of the ground where it snapped. The remaining piece has hinged over and is touching the ground 24 feet away horizontally. How tall was the flagpole before it broke? All right, so again, a right triangle right here, we'll do 7 squared plus 24 squared equals x squared. Let's simplify here. We have 49 plus, let's see what 24 squared is, 576. Let's add those together. 625. We'll take the square root of each side. All right, so the square root of 625 will be 25. All right, so that's just the piece that broke right here, that 25. So we do have to add, because here was the original flagpole. So 25 plus 7, you have to add those together, and we will get the height of the flagpole, which is 32 feet tall. Okay, a few more examples. 2 more. Best Buy brags that the newest TV is 65 inches. This happens to be the length of the diagonal. If we know the height of the TV is 35 inches, what is the width? Okay, so again, when you buy a TV, they measure it by the diagonal. So we're going to say this is a 65-inch TV. And we know that the height is 35 inches. What is the width? I'll call it W. Okay, let's plug it up with Pythagorean theorem because it's a right triangle. We have 35 squared plus, I'll call this W squared, equals 65 squared. Simplify each side. I need to know what 35 squared is. 1,225. I have to know what 65 squared is. 4,225. Let's get rid of the 1,225 from each side. All right, we got W squared equals 3,000. Take the square root of each side to get rid of the squared. And we'll get our answer. So the width of the TV is about 54.8 if I round. 54.8 inches. Okay, last problem. Apple's latest iPad has a diagonal length of 13 inches. If the width is 9 inches, what is the height? Round to the nearest tenth of an inch. Okay, so here's my iPad. The diagonal length right here is 13. The width is 9. What is the height? Okay, so again, we're solving for a leg right here. So I have 8 squared plus 9 squared equals 13 squared. We have 81 equals 169. Subtract 81 from each side. So 8 squared equals 88. Take the square root and we'll round to the nearest tenth, or 1 after the decimal. So we'll take the square root of 88. 9.38, so rounding to the nearest tenth, that would be 9.4. So we have the height here equals 9.4 inches. Okay, so day 2 of Pythagorean theorem. Give it a try. We'll go over any questions in class.